We will be working all hours of the night, weekends, and holidays, enforcing the laws and putting our lives on the line.
At every LAPD graduation, there are always some men and women who didn't just want a career in law enforcement. They came here from places like Lubbock and Alamogordo, Philadelphia, and Duluth, specifically to become Los Angeles police officers. It's neither the largest police department in the United States nor the most glamorous one, but there's something almost charismatic about putting on the blue suit and patrolling one of the most diverse cities in the world. To be an LAPD officer is to come to work with the knowledge that the end of your watch could be around the next corner or waiting at the end of a Code 3 call.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
Protecting and serving is often a thankless job, and now with the deployment of dash cams and body cams, there's no doubt that every split-second life or death decision is going to be reviewed by people with a lot of time to consider the possibilities. Complicating matters is the inability of the city and its police officers to reach an agreement on a new labor contract. Today on Midday Sunday, it won't be Chief Charlie Beck or any of the department's brass talking about police matters. It won't be Mayor Garcetti either. Today is one of the relatively rare times when the nearly 10,000 rank-and-file members of the LAPD have the opportunity to speak directly to the people they protect and serve. Good Sunday morning, everybody. Our guests today are from the Los Angeles Police Protective League. Sitting right next to me here, Jerretta Sandoz. She is a sergeant with the league, but you're also a director.
Vice President.
Vice President. Yes. And with us also is, forgive me because I'm so intrigued by the fact that we've got these folks here.
Craig Lally.
Craig Lally is here, Lieutenant, and he is the President. What's the big issue these days? When in the locker rooms before the roll call, what is it? Is it cameras?
Yeah, one of the reasons it just came out. We're at meet and confer stage with the body cameras. We just got sent a rough draft of the policy, the actual policy of the on-body cameras. The officers in Central Division, a portion of Central Division were testing 3 different companies to figure out what company they wanted to go with. So now it's come back to the Police Commission. We got a rough draft of the actual rules, and we just got that a short time ago, so we're starting with going over the policy.
Beyond the technology and the company and all the rest of that stuff, what's the feeling about walking around with a camera on?
Well, with the officers, of course it's new. It's something that has never been done before as far as body cameras, and mainly they want a fair policy. They want to make sure it's not the gotcha era. We're way beyond that, and that's something that the meet and confer, that we will make sure that it's not a gotcha era and that the officers are treated fairly and that the policy is fair.
But is that even possible in this era, when we have so many things political and so many things going on within the department in terms of what you and I in a conversation earlier referred to as betrayal?
Right. Well, our goal on this policy, and I hope it's the same goal as the department is, we want to make it fair and consistent. You know, it's not only protecting the rights of the officers, it's protecting the rights of the citizens and civil liability for the city. So it's multifaceted. It's not just protecting the officers' rights, and we got to get this right because it's the most important thing on the table right now, as far as I'm concerned.
But is it the sort of thing? Am I wrong in assuming that there's generally resistance to putting these on?
No, I would disagree with you on that. I knew a lot of the officers that were in the pilot program. I think all of them were volunteers to do the pilot program. So I got a lot of feedback from them. A lot of them said it's a great system. It's another tool, and basically that you can have to. So if there comes a situation when a citizen makes false allegations against you, it's overwhelming evidence that the incident didn't happen. So I talked to a lot of officers that actually happened to in the pilot program, and they were very happy with the system.
Have you had some feedback suggesting that citizens that you come in contact with, that they're not particularly anxious to be seen on these cameras either?
You know, as far as citizens, that could be also a problem because we have the rights of the citizen. Do they actually want to be videotaped? So there are lots of things that I believe and that we believe as a union need to be worked out prior to rolling out these cameras. So the whole purpose of the meet and confer, and we're anxious to get started with that. Body cameras, there's pros and cons, of course, but we also want to make sure that we work those kinks out so there's no problems in the future.
About a year ago, there were some problems reported with the dash cams, that allegedly there were officers who were disabling them in some way or another, messing with the antenna on the black and white, so on and so forth. First of all, was that really happening?
That's true. My understanding, it did happen, but I think it was very exaggerated, the amount. I think, and I don't know who did it, but my understanding is that it was possibly it did happen, but it was really blown out of proportion. And since then, we haven't had any incidents since the initial stages of the in-car camera. I haven't heard of any instances of anything going wrong.
When you talk to those 10,000 men and women, if they had their druthers, would they rather not have the cameras, whether it's on the dashboard or on their body?
You know, I would say yes, because police officers, especially LA police officers, they're honorable, and some feel, and I won't say all of them, but some feel that these cameras are pretty much, let's watch what they're doing. But there's a bigger picture here. We as a league embrace the cameras. We just want to make sure, because they're coming, and they're probably going to be coming to all law enforcement across the country. So we want to make sure everyone's watching LAPD with these cameras. We want to make sure that they're implemented and they're rolled out the correct way, so that we can ward off complaints. There'll be an actual recording of incidents that occur that without the camera, maybe there could be some controversial thoughts or controversial lawsuits, and we could say, hey, here it is, it's right on camera. This is what occurred.
But is the implementation of cameras, is it the result, think, of a generalized distrust of law enforcement across the country, or somebody out trying to sell the technology, or what?
You know, in my opinion, it's just technology. When I came on the job 34 years ago, we didn't even have handheld radios. We had just gotten about 2 years out when I was out of the academy. So the technology now is so much more advanced. Back then, training officers would have their radios and stick them into Converticom and lock it in.
Sure.
And they refused to take it out of the car. The probationer, which was me, had to take it on all the calls because they were so scared to death of losing that thing, because they were told if you lost one of these radios, the value back then I think was $2,000 or $3,000 a piece, that you're going to take a 5-year suspension. So obviously we've gotten past that. So anytime you have new technology, the unknown out there, I think it's initially because it's an unknown. It's just like anything else. But I remember 34 years ago, a training officer did not want to carry that radio because of the fear of getting lost.
Yeah. I guess this would be the point to segue into race relations, since the cameras and, yeah. What's the sense? The old model was, whether it's the LAPD or the Sheriff's Department or the municipal, that they're patrolling our city with their windows rolled up and they're not really connected with the community they serve, especially if it's a community of color. Is that mentality still around?
Well, working in a community of color and also being a senior lead officer in Southeast Division, LAPD officers have spent years cultivating the relationship between the community and the police. It's very, very important. It starts with communication. It starts with understanding. Are there people who still have conflict with the police? Absolutely. There'll always be conflicts with the police, but I think to minimize it, do what the officers are doing. They're out in the community. They're more active. They have meetings with the community to listen to their concerns. So I think the race relations within the department, LAPD, has improved greatly since I came on 20 years ago.
As an observer of you at work, the department, law enforcement at work, there are two things that I've noticed. When there's a female officer or a female deputy there, it tends to calm things down a little bit. But the fact that you show up and you're a lady or a gentleman of color, does that help or does it work against you?
Well, that's twofold. I've been in both situations where it has helped, and I've also been in situations where it did not help, because it was, okay, you're one of them. you're not one of us.
Yeah.
So that situation just has to be worked out. But then there's situations where they'll come to me and they'll say, oh, she's a female and she's African American, so let me talk to her. Maybe she understands my plight. Maybe she understands what's going on.
Yeah. One of the worst things that growing up in Hollenbeck, one of the worst things that we would see would be a car rolling up and having a black or a Hispanic officer riding there along with a white one, because we knew that we knew most of the time the officer of color was going to be especially difficult with us, especially rough with us, to prove that they could be to their white partner. Does that stuff still go on?
I would say no.
You're looking at me.
No, I mean, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So no, I can't sit here and say that it does go on because I haven't seen it.
Yeah. On that note, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll regroup a little bit and we'll talk about, how about the labor contract?
Sounds
Yeah?
good.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Calling it quits for the day? Burglars are just getting started. Fact, businesses without a monitored security system are 4 times more likely to be burglarized than those who